Dave, same situation with Mookie and Seager. Keep Seager off the legs and Mookie's hand substantial swelling.
Yeah, same situation. I think that Corey could have played defense today. I expect him to play defense tomorrow, but I just wanted to give it one more day. And with Mookie, the swelling is dissipated some, but still not where we feel comfortable having him out there. Hopefully, the hope is to get him back in there tomorrow, but we'll see how it progresses.
Do you have any idea what type of treatment Mookie has to do since the x-rays were negative?
I don't. I think part of it is just time. Part of it is ice. And I know they've got it wrapped up at times to kind of keep the swelling down. I don't know if he's on an anti-inflammatory or not. And there's also kind of, again, the modalities that they kind of rub stuff to kind of promote blood flow.
What do you think has made Jock such a good, I know he's not hitting leadoff tonight, but leadoff hitter?
I think, that first pitch, he is hitting leadoff tonight. I think, Alanna, he's leading off tonight because Mookie's down. But he likes that. He likes the fastball. And so I don't know how many homers he let off last year to start the game, first pitch. I really don't know anything more than that, but I do know he likes the fastball, and hopefully we can see a repeat of last night.
Yeah, I mean, how much of an emphasis is that for your guys, regardless of who they are, Dave, to just kind of and ready to swing at that first pitch? I don't know that Paddock could have expected that ambush right from Jock right away.
Yeah, and I think that regardless of, where guys hit in the order, I think the thing that we really impress upon them is just be who they are. And for me, an at bat, a good at bat versus bad at bat, I think is swinging at strikes. And so whether it's the first pitch in the at bat or the 10th pitch, if you're swinging at balls that are in the strike zone, I'll bet on that from all of our guys.
Thank you.
Next question is from Mark Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, do you know if Mookie swung a bat, fully with both hands?
Yeah, he tried to swing the bat last night in the cage and just experienced a lot of discomfort. And that was just more of just kind of seeing where we were at. And I think that, once he gets treatment and gets it loosened up, we'll kind of revisit that again. And I'll have a better update once he does that.
I know you said he wanted to wear x-rays that were negative. Has he undergone an MRI?
No, just the x-rays.
Is there is there a chance that it's something else is wrong, a tendon, a ligament, something else?
I think there's always that chance. But I think that because of the swelling is starting to go down, the range of motion is getting better. We feel confident that it'll continue to improve.
And you mentioned tomorrow, hopefully he can play. Is there also just a chance you guys just play it safe and use the off day and give him 4 days off?
Absolutely. I think that there's one thing of having him in there, the presence, the defense, the base running. I do know that, I want to be comfortable, but I also do know that it's nothing that can hurt him worse, can get any worse. So I think that that's one thing. It's per his tolerance, but you still want to put the player in the position to have success, physically and mentally.
If this is the last week of September, you guys are fighting for a spot. Is he in the lineup tonight?
I would say yes.
Mm-hmm. And one thing sort of off topic here. Do you see a defensive improvement from Justin Turner so far from last season?
The one thing I do see is the arm strength. He's been doing a lot of plyo balls and strengthening his arm. And this is as good as I've seen his arm since I've been here. And defensively, he's moving to his right considerably better, as good as I've seen since I've been here as well. So he's playing deeper, which he's gotten to be comfortable with. So I think that helps the metrics. And he's just done a really nice job for us.
Is that arm sort of improvement, the program, is that something he, offered to do? Did you guys approach him? How'd that come about?
I think it was something that we have a guy, Rob Hill, who does a lot of the arm care, arm strengthening stuff, and came from Driveline. And we was talking to some of the pitchers and got them some of these guys on board. We talked about Clayton, talked about Kenley, and Justin kind of hopped on that bandwagon. Austin Barnes has been doing it. So certain position players and pitchers. So it's been a big benefit for a lot of our guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Dave Bassett. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Dave, what's prohibiting Seager from playing shortstop? Is it more the quad or is it more the calf?
It's the quad. Calf, right calf bruise. He's fine, recovered well from that, the foul ball, and it's more of the quad that we just want to be extra cautious. And again, he could have played out there today, but I like the guys who are running out there against Lamet, and just to give him another day to just stay off his legs, take the 4 at-bats, we feel good about that.
And Dustin May starting for you guys for the 3rd time this season. I'm just curious from your standpoint, what do you feel like he needs to be more effective at to be able to get through the opposing team's lineup a 3rd time?
Strike efficiency. I think he's got to be able to incorporate the breaking ball and work ahead because he's an uncomfortable at bat. So if he can get strike 1, it should be a really good night.
Would you like to see him incorporate the changeup a little bit more than he has in the previous 2?
Yeah, I mean that's something that he's worked on as well as the breaking ball. He's going to be fastball cutter primarily, but to kind of keep guys off his cutter, and the changeup doesn't necessarily need to be a swing and miss pitch. It can be something to get the left-hander on the ground and induce weak contact. So, yeah, just to kind of use his entire mix, I think is only beneficial.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Dave. On Turner's defense, you say he's playing deeper. Was that suggested to him, or is that an adjustment he made on his own?
That's something we talked about last year. And, he was comfortable and played third base, a few steps behind the bag, which obviously, minimizes the range laterally. But in talking to guys as far as kind of doing the positioning and talking to Dino, encouraging him to back up and give himself a little bit more room. And to go along with his added arm strength, it just makes a lot of sense and has made him an even better defender.
Is that an adjustment that maybe he has to make as he gets a little older and the range changes?
Well, I think if you look at, some of the best in the game, Arenado plays deep, Rendon plays deep, Machado plays deep. So I just think it's one of those things, you're giving up the ball, the topper off the right-handed bat, the ball coming in potentially, but you're adding that range, and he has the arm strength to handle that.
Way back last winter when there was talk about a Francisco Lindor trade and moving Seager to 3rd, there was some talk about approaching Justin about playing first base. And then when the DH came up, we heard a lot of, Justin can DH and get off his legs a lot, and his defense had declined. Do you think he took all those things as insults and kind of fuel for the fire?
I don't think the potential talk of whatever player moving around the diamond to give the Dodgers the best chance to win, that's just who he is. So I don't think that was more fuel to the fire. But I think if he looks at the metrics and things like that, which all players have access to, I think you're always striving to be a better player. And so that's something that he takes a lot of pride in. And he did something about it, strengthen the arm and was willing to give himself a little bit more room, on the positioning side. And I just, and there's going to be DH days in there. And I still think that, as he continues to get older, that makes sense. But with Corey, with his leg and giving the DHs here, the hope is still potentially tomorrow give him a DH day.
One thing, a different topic. You have a couple young guys in your bullpen, Gratterall and Ferguson, who were, highly touted prospects as starting pitchers. And now here they are, morphed into relievers and doing fairly well. Do you handle the young guys like that differently, knowing that their mentality might be as a starting pitcher? And in Ferguson's case, have you seen that mentality change?
Yeah, I think, with Caleb, it's more of understanding right now he's a two-pitch pitcher. It's the fastball, the hard slider, and he mixes it in the changeup a couple times, once or twice an outing. And, when you're talking about helping the big leaguers, helping us at this level, it's about whatever you have in the tank, let it rip for an inning plus, and we'll take care of you as far as the recovery, the usage. And I think with Gratterall, it's the fastball slider mix. So I think that they both really right now profile better as middle relievers and leverage guys. So I think that the win would be able to get them to go 1+. And right now with Gratterall, he hasn't gone back to back. So as you can see, we've been really cautious about doing that. But I think, after this off day, if it makes sense to back is certainly a possibility with him.
Is that because of his history last year with the shoulder?
That's part of it. That's part of the history, and also the history in the sense that he hasn't done it before. So you can see that we don't let his pitch counts run up. We haven't pitched him back to back. He hasn't gone 1+ yet. But as we ramp up and get deeper into the season, if we expect him to be a leverage guy, we're going to need to check those boxes.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Got a question from Rowan Kavner. Go ahead, Ron.
Hi, Dave. We talked to Scott Alexander a little bit yesterday, and he had kind of chronicled all he went through with the thumb injury last year and the nerve problem and how scary that was. And there was a point where he wondered if he was even going to be able to pitch again. Was there a time where you kind of wondered if he'd be able to help at any point? And then what's it been like to see his recovery and him being able to help the way he has early this year?
I'm very pleased to see all that Scott's overcome to be back here pitching meaningful innings. And, this is something that was out of his control. There was the tendon, the lack of feeling, and, all that he had to go through. And his teammates missed him. He wanted to be out here competing. And so I really didn't know, the time frame and what it would look like when he would get back, when and if. So to keep his sanity, I guess, and to keep that competitive spirit, it took a lot. It took a lot with Scott, the medical staff. They all came together and got him in this position. And you see the last couple outings that he's had. It's been really remarkable.
Next question from Bryce Miller. Go ahead, Bryce.
Hi, Dave. Given the Dodgers' dominance in the West over the last 7 years, what's it mean in this series that the Padres become more competitive, and what's the biggest change for them as it appears they might be becoming more competitive?
They're certainly more competitive, and we have always had respect for the Pods. They've always played us tough. I think it's more of outside the division. They haven't fared well. But I think the biggest difference is they've got deeper starting pitching. The pen has always been good. And the young players, the talented players are, coming of age, and, adding Pham is a big deal. So just kind of having him and taking a flyer on the right fielder, and he's a nice little player as well.
I don't know if you noticed during batting practice yesterday, the stadium staff was playing like Christopher Cross and Billy Ocean and all this pretty awful soccer. And what's the trolling report card the stadium staff gets for your batting practice yesterday?
You know what? The trolling report card, they probably get an A. And I say that in both ways because they trolled and were successful. But I was pretty pleased with the song selections. Reminded me of my parents. It was great. I don't know. I just don't think that obviously it's there's an intent behind it, but that has no bearing on the game at 6:10.
Thanks for the time.
Next question is from Eric Stevens. Go ahead, Eric.
Hi, Dave. With Austin in there tonight at catcher, it's an even split so far between him and Will Smith. And I was just wondering, is that sort of the plan going forward, or is any of that related to like the short ramp up to this season so far?
Well, it's a short ramp up. We've had 2 weeks of summer camp. So it's a small sample. It's 11 games, something like that. Will play tomorrow, so the needle will skew the other way after tomorrow's game. But yeah, it'll gradually get more the other way. We'll see a little bit more playing time, but they're both doing a great job.
Thanks. The other thing is, when you called up Victor Gonzalez the other day, did you add anyone to the taxi squad after, or has it just been at two since then?
Mitchell White's not here. Sporsey's not here. I think we might just have the two. Yeah, I think, Eric, we just have the two.
And so Gonsolin went back as well?
Correct.
Thank you.
Next question is from Ken Gurnick. Go ahead, Ken.
Dave, I saw that one of the umpires from the last series is also at this one. I'm going to assume that he might have flown with you. And if that's the case, how weird was that to have an umpire fly on the team plane?
So it was different. I didn't get a chance to see Mark on the flight. I didn't make my way back there on the 48-minute flight from Arizona. But we already got a heads up from the league that this might happen, and he was covering for somebody here. And it's kind of the theme is we're all in this together. So he's got a job to do. We as players, coaches got a job to do, and baseball does. So it wasn't a problem.
Got a question from Jack Harris. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Dave. Jock mentioned to us in training camp, the work he'd been doing with this movement coach and some of the crazy kind of exercises that he was doing. Did you ever see him doing that stuff? And can you see the benefits or the strides he's made just physically over the last couple months?
I'm not sure which movement coach. We have a couple guys in house. I'm not sure if he was referencing Keith Pine or somebody that he had in the off season, but Jock is moving well. And, guys are always kind of trying to evolve and learn more and keep that edge.
Yeah. For him, have you seen almost just a maturation in the last couple of years between something like that? And he's also mentioned the work he's done on the mental side of the game. How do those things sort of reveal themselves to you and on the field?
Well, I think the thing that I've seen more from Jock is the mental side of things. He expects so much of himself, and when he's not perfect, he shows his frustrations. But I haven't seen the spikes this year and through spring training or summer camp, and I think that just consistent mindset and mentality is going to lead to performance. And Jock is just such a consistent worker, and really obviously impacted us for the last 5 years. So it's just, all the credit goes to Jock.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
I have time for one more question. Jorge Castillo, go ahead.
Dave, do you have any idea when you'll hear back about Kelly's appeal?
No, we're supposed to hear back this week. So I know that he's been really proactive in trying to, get it taken care of so we can kind of get some closure. But, hopefully we'll know more this week and it's reduced.
And one last one here. Word is out that the roster will move down to 28 players Thursday for the rest of the season, and the taxi squad will go from 3 to 5 players for the rest of the year. What's your reaction to that? Did you want to see it stay at 30? What's your reaction?
I think they got it right, Major League Baseball and the Players Association. I think that, getting it down to 28 makes it more of baseball that we know. So there's not as much matching up potential. And that extra taxi squad, I think, gives everyone coverage. So I think they nailed it.
Cool. Thank you.